Hey guys, I'm going to show you how I made this really cool crochet top, and I would like to say it's kind of Barbie inspired from the movie, and it is definitely very beginner friendly, and it doesn't require any knowledge of very advanced stitches, so I think it's perfect for beginners. And yeah, I started off by making a slip knot, and I got a 5.5mm crochet hook, and I began making a chain that would go all the way around my bust. So for me that was 36 inches, so I just measured around my bust area, and that was 36 inches long. But yours can be different, it just depends how big your bust area is and how big you want it to fit. But yeah, that's just the size I made mine. So once the chain was 36 inches long, and then just chain one, and then I began double crocheting into every single stitch along the chain. And if you don't know how to do a double crochet, all you have to do is yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, and then yarn over, pull through the first two loops, and then yarn over and pull through the second two loops. So yeah, I just did that the whole way along the chain into every single stitch. So that was the first row finished, then I again chained one, and then I double crocheted again into every stitch along the chain for the second row. And again for the third row, and for every single row of the body part, you're just going to chain one and then double crochet into every single stitch of the row. And yeah, as I said before, I just double crocheted into every stitch for every single row, and then chaining one when I got to the end of the row, and then turning my work. And I just did that until the whole piece was 10 inches long, but you can do whatever size you want. I just wanted it to be 10 inches long to fit my torso. So as usual, when I got to the end, I cut the yarn and pulled a knot through. And that was the main body finished, and then I just got my yarn again and made a slip knot and inserted again my 5.5mm crochet hook. And then I made a chain of 18 stitches. Which was 3.5 inches long. I then began single crocheting into every stitch of this chain. So if you don't know how to single crochet, you just insert your hook into the stitch and then yarn over and pull through the 2 loops on your hook. And so I did that the whole way along the chain. So once I'd single crocheted into every single stitch of the chain, I then chained 1 and then turned my work as usual. I then inserted my hook into the back loop of each stitch and I did a single crochet into the back loop only. So as you can see, inserting my hook into the back loop and then yarning over and then pulling through those 2 loops on my crochet hook. So yeah, for the whole way along the row, just single crocheting into the back loop of each stitch. So once I'd finished that row, again I chained 1 like usual and then turned my work, and then again I just inserted my hook into the back loop only of each stitch and did a single crochet into that stitch. So yeah, I just did exactly the same as I did for the last row. So as you're single crocheting only into the back loop, every time you insert your hook, you should only have 1 loop on your hook, because usually if you're just doing a normal single crochet stitch, you would insert your hook into both of those loops, but we're only going to be single crocheting into the back loop. And again for the next row and every single other row, chained 1, enter my work to start a new row, and then again I just single crocheted into the back loop only of each stitch along the row. So I just did that for every single row. So again, as you can see for this row, again I'm just single crocheting into the back loops only, and I just continue to do this until this whole section was 38 inches long. So as you can see, single crocheting into the back loops only kind of gives this more stretchy effect. So I did this until the piece was 38 inches because it's 2 inches longer than the body part. And then once I'd done that, I just cut the yarn and pulled a knot. Then I got the main body part, and then I measured 3 inches from the side and placed a stitch marker into that stitch. And then I measured 8 inches from that stitch marker that I just put in at the 3 inches and put another stitch marker, and I did that to the other side. So I did 3 inches, place a stitch marker, and then 8 inches from that stitch marker and place another stitch marker. Then I threaded my yarn through a needle, and then I had also placed the top part just on top of it, and then I just began sewing it to the main body part, and I just sewed it together until I reached that first 3-inch stitch marker. So I'm just sewing the top part of it to the top part of the main body. So when I reached that stitch marker that marked 3 inches, I then cut the yarn and tied a knot. And then I did the exact same to the other side, so I sewed that top section to the main body part until I reached that stitch marker that marked 3 inches. And when I reached that stitch marker, I again cut the yarn and pulled a knot. I then didn't sew those 8 inches together because that's where your arm is going to go in each side. So I then just started sewing it together from the stitch marker that marked 8 inches from the 3-inch stitch marker, so 11 inches from each side, and then I just sewed it together until I reached the stitch marker on the other side that marked 8 inches from that 3-inch marker on the other side. So basically you should have a gap on each side that measures 8 inches, so you can fit your arms through. And then I just began sewing the whole piece together, so sewing both the sides together so that it made a top. And then I again cut my yarn and pulled a knot through, and then I just took all the stitch markers out, and then I just began threading all the ends in. And that was the top finished. I hope you enjoy, and I really hope you decide to try and make it yourself. And yeah, thank you so much for watching.